Massachusetts has some of the strongest tenant protection laws in the country. This video is about those laws and how they impact you as an investor. This is not a place to be scared of the laws, it's actually to know your competitive advantage by having mastery of these laws. There's one Massachusetts law that people think protects the tenants, but it's actually for the benefit of the landlord. That law is that landlords can collect first month's rent, last month's rent, and security deposit, which is pretty unique amongst at least even the Northeast. The difference here is that with the last month's rent, obviously first month's rent is going to pay your bills. The last month's rent, just like deposit, has to be basically held in an interest-bearing account. And that interest you have to pay back to the tenant when they end up leaving. Now, if they don't leave and it doesn't really work out well, or this or that, it's a negative consequence there, then you have the ability to have that last month's rent as protection, just like you have the deposit. So it's there for the benefit of the landlord, and it's important to know that rule. So there's some key figures here that we need to really discuss. If you ever held any deposit or the last month's rent in an account, if it has no interest, you can just give the money back. But if it does have interest bearing, you have to make sure you share that interest with the tenant when they leave or vacate and they get their deposit more or less. One of the biggest ones that people need to be aware of is the lead database. Now, Massachusetts has this excellent lead database program. There's 2 different websites you can go to, but anything built between pre-1970 has the risk of lead. And so it's important to always have that disclosure and have that pamphlet showing the tenants and the landlord that they say, hey, lead, if it's pre-1978, do you have a lead certification? If yes or no, be mindful of children in a place that doesn't have a lead cert. If it's built pre and it's newer, 1978, you don't have to worry about that, obviously. But everybody should be aware of the lead laws relating to Massachusetts tenancy. Now let's talk the eviction process. Up in New Hampshire and other states, maybe the eviction takes 3 months, give or take. In Massachusetts, I typically see it take between 4 and 8 months, to be honest, depending on how well you have your paperwork done. I cannot recommend this enough. Do not handle an eviction yourself as an investor. You should absolutely hire somebody, whether it's the property management company you're working with or a lawyer. Let them handle the eviction process. If you make one mistake or the paperwork is wrong, you just delayed yourself 2 or 3 months and you just killed any potential investment cash flow that you were going to plan on having. Now, this might all sound kind of like doom and gloom, but this is actually here to protect rents and protect tenants and protect landlords. These strong tenant laws are great because, to be honest, they allow stability. Massachusetts is a great local economy, and guess what? It's protected by these tenant laws. This is going to allow the landlord and the tenant to have, let's see, a cohesive relationship where these individuals across the board, it's keeping a stability in the economic area that we have within the great state of Massachusetts. So what does all this mean, though? Do you want to just handshake and say like, yep, you're good to go, you just stayed in my place? No. You want to have strong leases. I recommend having your leases drafted up by a legal side, and you go to close with your attorney, ask them for any legal documents that they may have for tenant laws and protection. Make sure that you're covering all your bases from first, last month, the security deposit, lead documents, making sure you have proper leases structured so that in the case of an eviction that you may have, that you're protected, making sure that you're running through everything through legal compliance is the biggest thing I could recommend from always looking at from tenant law perspective. Now, last month's rent rule, just to reiterate this, if you keep last month's rent, you absolutely need to make sure that it's in an interest-bearing account, that at least you're paying the interest back if the tenant moves out and they were well, making sure that that is something that you're giving them. You can't just, obviously you're not going to give them the rent, but you're going to give them the interest that is accrued by that rental amount. That is super important that you are doing that. So making sure that they are owed that interest over time. That is an important feature, making sure that you're paying attention to the Massachusetts laws for tenants. My biggest thing with this video at the end of the day is that you need to at least understand the laws enough to be dangerous, and it gives you the competitive advantage. You should know about, if you're buying an asset in Massachusetts, what are tenant laws there to protect. You want to have a friendly, safe environment for your tenants, but you also want to be protected as well as an individual. Make sure you talk to legal counsel. When you buy a property, ask for the documents that are out there. If you have a real estate agent, they might have some as well, and hopefully they're an investor agent that also has documents that they can share. But I will always recommend that legal counsel should look at your documents. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Our goal is to help 1 million people reach financial independence. We're trying to do that through real estate. We also run a free meetup program where we have like 15 plus meetups across the New England area. You can always follow our link to chat there. We also have a free school program that we offer. Our goal is to help people like you. So please help us get noticed. We appreciate it. Thank you.